friends, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week I'm bringing you back my monthly what I spent video. It's just the beginning of October, which means that I'm going to be showing you everything that I've spent in the month of September. Quick little disclaimer, I mentioned this pretty much at the beginning of every one of these videos, but I am 22 years old. I live and work full-time in London, and I share a one-bedroom apartment with my boyfriend, and we split things like rent, bills, and groceries all 50-50. And I usually break this video down in 3 different categories. So I'll be showing you my fixed costs, my typical variable costs, and my monthly specific costs. So fixed costs will be things like rent and bills, things that happen reoccurring and don't really change. And then my typical variable costs will be things like groceries, shopping, getting coffee, things that are variable but that I get and purchase every single month. And then my specific monthly purchases are anything that are still variable costs but are specific to this month and are not usually reoccurring. So now that we've gotten that all out of the way, let's get right on with this video. Okay, so as usual, I'm gonna move to the side, have my laptop here with me, and we're gonna be going through everything that I've spent in September. Exciting. First category, we have fixed costs. For rent, I paid £769 last month. For bills, it was £69.32, and then council tax was £85.50. Within the fixed costs, I also have my subscriptions, and all of that was £43.64. And TFL I also have here in my fixed costs because I have the monthly travel card for zones 1 to 4 because I work within zone 2, but I have to go into zone 1 a lot, and even for like my commute to work, and I live in zone 4, so it just kind of makes it easier for me. And then that was £224.70. Now I know it's a really high number, and if I was to not get the travel card, I did a trial before on a month where I was in London full-time, I wasn't traveling, and I got the travel, like I didn't get the travel card, and I spent almost £200. So for me it just makes sense to get the travel card, so I'm not worrying about it. And my work does reimburse me part of that as well, so it's not 224 in the end. That was how much my fixed cost was. I will share all the totals at the very end of the video, so stick around for that. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to my typical variable costs. So first thing is groceries. Now this month, I don't know how, but it was quite an expensive grocery month. I spent $239.61. That's on my half. Usually I try and aim at about like 180-ish for groceries, so this was well above budget. I'm not sure how we got there, but you know, we budget so that things like this can happen. And then my eating slash going out, I put that into one category because I don't really go out that much, but I eat out way more. This was also way higher than I would like to be. It was $237.82. To be fair, I did have more like celebrations this month and things to do, and my sister was staying with me for a bit, so it was definitely higher, but I still think it's not crazy. It's still London, you know, and I was like doing a lot of stuff. Takeaway was just $7. We got KFC like one night, and I got something really small, so just £7 for that, which is really good. And then shopping, also really good. I spent $23.99 on shopping, which is not very high at all. My budget is usually around £50 a month. And then pharmacy goods is a category that I always have, but this month was $0. I didn't have to restock or buy anything pharmacy wise, which was nice as well. Kind of makes up for my groceries and going out this month. And then coffee out, again, very good. It was $5.05, just one coffee that I got, because I do have the Pret subscription, so then like anything outside of that I account towards this coffee budget, because Pret subscription is great, it's cheap and it's convenient, but when I want like a really good cup of coffee, I definitely wouldn't go to Pret, so that's why I still have a coffee budget outside of my subscription. For miscellaneous, it was $26.86. All in all, the typical variable costs, it was kind of like very diverse. This month was like either really high or really low towards like what my usual budget are for these things, so I'm just hoping it kind of like balanced out my card in a way. For my final category, which is the specific monthly purchases, my travel this month, my friend and I went to Paris. If you haven't seen my Paris vlog, I'll link it here as well because it was really fun. We spent 3 days in Paris, and I am including like the amount that I spent on the trip in this video, even though I would like to mention I saved up about £200 in like the previous months of my pay towards this trip, so it didn't feel like I was spending money out of this month's like budget and pay, but I'm still gonna include it because it's money that left my account this month. So in Paris I spent a total of £217, which was just around my budget, which is perfect. And then my credit card statement for this month was $121.86, and unplanned like big spend was $60.61. I don't remember what that was, but this like category is just things that I had to end up buying that were unplanned. Pretty much anything over like £25 would go into this category and not like miscellaneous, just so I can track my spending a little bit better. But that is everything for all of my categories. These videos have become quite short and sweet, which I love. And now let's get into the totals. So for the fixed cost total, it was $1,123.85. amazing. My typical variable costs 540 and 33, which I think is pretty average for me. Like my typical variable costs are usually about 500 if I like max out my usual budgets of every category, so it did kind of balance out, which is great. And then my specific month purchases was a total of 399.47. Again, very high, but there was like the Paris trip which I had budgeted for, so I think it's not too bad. This brings us to a grand total of 2,063 and 65 for the month of September. Not terrible. If you deduct the amount I spent in Paris, which I had saved up for in previous pays, then you get a total of 1,846 and 65, which is kind of right around my budget. It is on the higher end. I like to spend anywhere between 16 to 1,800 a month, like with everything, like rent and everything. So really, all in all, not that bad. Like the trip was planned for, it was budgeted for, so I'm happy to say around 1,850 for my spending in September. And that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope that you enjoyed. I love doing these videos to kind of bring clarity on like spending and just what it's like to live in London as a 22-year-old. I know I'm very fortunate that I do live with my boyfriend in a 1-bedroom, so we get to split a lot of like bills and paying for furniture, bedding, all of that, which I'm really grateful for because it really helped. But yes, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!